Yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Double OH over here.
Who, what, when, where, and why?
Yeah. Wow. I had forgotten.
That's all of the 5 questions as a spy that you'd want to ask a suspect.
Well, I mean, they are key questions. Welcome to episode 254. This is a insignificant number.
It sure is. I tried to think of anything and couldn't.
Nah, there's nothing. But this episode is special because I believe it's the first episode curated by these folks. Am I correct on that?
Well, yeah, for sure. This is bought for us by Thorben for his pal Ludwig. Let's talk about it. I read about it last week. All right. There's this fella, Thorben Fisher. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what country this is. It seems like not America.
I'd say that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
That could be Sweden. That could be Germany. It could be Norway. I don't know. Thorben certainly is not a German name.
Well, it seems like he sent this on Outlook für Android herunterladen.
That sounds German to me.
Okay. Well, so I got this request from Thorben months and months ago, okay, for Spy Kids. And it was for his friend Ludwig's birthday, all right? Now, I completely forgot about it, except that I knew it was in April, and I knew that it was Spy Kids. So I have been posting places with no results about what the fuck was this thing. I know that this came through. So, I posted in the Discord, and nobody responded. And then finally, I mentioned it at the end of the show. I at first resisted mentioning it on the show because I didn't want to spoil it for the friend, you know?
Right. Oh, it was nice. But yeah, you had to.
But I had to.
It's still the best way to reach, obviously, our entire audience, just on air. So, yeah, good.
Yeah. So he responds. It turns out that Thorben is that fella John Matrix who posts on. We see him on social media.
That's what I thought.
All right. So he says, you didn't dream about that request. You could find the original message in your Patreon app, which I did. It was like the first message. It was like the only place I didn't look because I'm stupid.
I went looking there, and I couldn't find it either.
You couldn't find it either?
No, I must be way, way back. I get in the Patreon app. The Patreon app sucks. So
yeah, it's not a good app. So Ludwig, of course, I read his email last week. I'll read it again just because I like it.
Yep.
I'll read the whole thing this time. Today is my 26th birthday, and I had only one wish, listening to you two covering the best kids franchise of all time, Spy Kids. I am crying while writing this email since I heard that you forgot about it and covered those stupid Michael Douglas movies instead. But there is one thing that would make me happy again. Would you ask Shut Up Tim to cover at least 2 of these movies with you guys? As the world's biggest Shrek-spert, he obviously has superior taste in kids' movies and can truly appreciate Robert Rodriguez's vision. To that I say, yes, Tim will be on next week to talk about Spy Kids 3D, Game Over, and Spy Kids 4, All the Time in the World. 4D, I believe. And he says, thank you from a big fan. I am watching My Father the Hero, which we just watched for We Love Kids movies, or as it's known in Germany, Daddy Cool. So Germany, we got that.
Oh, Mein Vater... I don't know, Hero.
It's not. It's just called Daddy Cool. Isn't that sexy?
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna start calling you Daddy Cool. What do you think?
Daddy Cool.
Ooh.
Daddy, I can deal with it.
Wasn't Big Daddy Cool what they called Diesel in the WWF? Is that after your time? I think so.
I don't know. I'm still thinking of what hero is in German.
Oh well, keep trying.
Ein Heldenleben, a hero's life. A Helden.
Is that a German film?
The Richard Strauss orchestral piece.
Oh, yeah? What hero are they talking about in that? Adolf Hitler?
No, I believe he wrote
one of the other great German heroes.
I believe he wrote this long before that. And I think it's just a generic hero. It's not about anybody.
All right, so Ludwig says happy trails, and I said we're in. Let's Spy Kids it up. So Spy Kids 1 came out when I was like 15 years old, and I watched it, Henry, as a fan of Robert Rodriguez, because I was a video store boy, Henry. I was already working in the Blockbuster, I believe, or was just about to.
You're very young.
Yeah, I started when I was 15.
That's illegal. Good for Blockbuster and safe employment practices.
I got permission from my mom.
Oh, all right.
And I believe they were paying me $5.75 an hour.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I love that you and I can, despite our age differences, can still relate on the wages. Mm-hmm. You know, 5 years before that, when I graduated high school, my first job, I was paid $4.75 an hour, the national minimum wage.
Not okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I continue, Henry, I watched... Yes. So, Video Store 15-year-old in 2001. We loved Robert Rodriguez.
Obviously.
We did.
Yeah, you got From Dusk Till Dawn. You got El Mariachi. You got Desperado.
I, as an enormous Kevin Williamson fan, was the world's #1 faculty guy.
Oh, of course. Right. Great movie. Yeah.
So, I love Robert Rodriguez. Now it's 2001. He's putting out a kids movie. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But at least it has Robert Rodriguez regulars, like Antonio Banderas and Danny Trejo and Cheech Marin involved, which lets me know that this is a Robert Rodriguez picture and belongs in his pantheon. So it's not one to skip, Henry. If I'm going to keep up with this fella's oeuvre, I better watch Spy Kids. So I watched it, and I thought it was stupid, and then I never saw any of the other ones. And really, honestly, never even thought about it until today.
Wow. Okay, so this is 20 years ago, easily.
Yeah, I just never even... It seemed to me at the time like a really just a half-assed piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily feel that way anymore, but... I mean, it was just not something I ever considered revisiting. When we started the show, it's not one I was like, oh, down the line we'll get to Spy Kids, you know? And like, this is the kind of bullshit I'm usually into.
Right. Yeah. I am curious as to, because they're super fans for sure, John Matrix and Ludwig, why they wouldn't want this to just be covered on We Love Kids movies.
It's a franchise.
Oh, you guys don't do anything with sequels.
I have a rule on We Love Kids movies, Henry, that I refuse to cover anything involved in a franchise. It is the bane of Tim's existence, but I do this for you and me. I don't want to take any franchises away from this show.
You know, every once in a while, you can always just shoot me over an old texteroo and just say, "Hey, Hank, you know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe that there's something coming up."
Yeah, and we're gonna do the Despicable Me's.
Well, you know, there might be a time when it would be. I'd grant you. I'd say, "Hey, you know, you can probably."
People don't want that. The people want to hear Henry's take on the Minions.
Yeah.
Do you think they're funny, Henry? Do you like the Facebook memes?
Oh, the yellow little guys. Yeah, ever since it came out, I thought it was really up there. I've never seen any of them.
Who's your favorite one? The one with overalls?
Yeah, I like Mink.
Is that a pink one or something? Or a furry one?
No, his name's Mink.
Mink? The Minion?
Yeah.
God, you really are a super fan. I haven't heard of that.
I just made that up. I have no idea what any of their names are.
Did you hear that the FedEx murderer was a brony?
Wait, tell me that again. What's a brony again?
They're bros, Henry, who love My Little Pony.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, and apparently before he went and shot up that FedEx place and ultimately killed himself, he posted on his Facebook that he hopes that life won't have been worth living if he doesn't end up in the afterlife with Twilight Sparkle.
Are you fucking shitting me?
I'm quoting. I love this country, Henry, is
what
the
a
moral
country.
of the story. I am obsessed with America right now.
There was another shooting today.
I know.
Your neck.
Yeah, on Long Island.
No.
West Hempstead, baby. Love it.
I almost texted you. Did you know that? Is that? I know Long Island is huge for our non-American listeners.
Oh, no. It was right where I used to go to rehab, Henry.
So you know it.
I know it very well, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still on the loose. All right.
Oh, he's out there. They've locked down all the schools. It's an active shooter situation, baby. That's what you might as well call this country. It's an old A. It's the old A. It's the asshole of the world. The active shooter situation.
Me and me wife were thinking about going to United States of active shooter, but it's on red alert right now. When it gets down to yellow, we'll trip over the pond. But there's some nice sights to see when there's not a total active shooter alert. But it's pretty high right now, averaging one per day.
Why were you being like the mom from My Left Foot?
I figured I was being an Irishman tourist who was interested all his life to visit America, but it's not really a place one might want to go because you could get shot pretty easily, actually, or killed by police.
No problem.
Yeah.
Love this country. Okay, what were we talking about, Henry?
Oh, nothing. I had just asked, basically, about why it was on the kids.
This is shambles. Why it wasn't on the kids show.
And she said that people love me and wanted me to comment on it.
Yeah, that's right. People, and I, after watching these Spy Kids movies, am happy that we're talking about it on this show because they're wild movies, and I'm excited to talk about the casts in particular.
Yeah, I was very, very curious about that. You told me the casts were crazy, and that goes a long way. So we'll talk about that.
I guess it didn't go a long way for you.
Not sure what crazy cast you're referring to that's any crazier than anything else we cover, but
I thought the cast was wild.
God bless Dan. He's always trying to make me get through these things in a nice, charitable way. It's very sweet.
I had fun with Spy Kids. Honestly, I'm about to give 2 positive reviews to 2 Spy Kids movies.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, warning, there's going to be a divergence. Hopefully.
I think that's okay. I'm fine with the divergence on these.
It'll be a good show. Yeah, that's not going to happen here. There's going to be 2 negative reviews over here. Okay. Probably some hyperbolic statements on my end, maybe not so hyperbolic.
I'm going to tear down those statements and explain to you why Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams is a good movie. Yeah. All right, Henry, I'm excited to start. Spy Kids, the first one, all right?
Yes.
Robert Rodriguez. He wanted to do a kids movie. He was having kids by this point. He's one of these guys, Henry. He had kids. His whole world changed. He just became a totally different artist.
Of course.
So, he's got Racer, Rebel, and...
His names?
Yeah. And I think Rocket... he's got crazy kids' names, Henry. In the second one, Junie, the male spy kid, he delivers his full name at one point, if you remember, and all of his middle names were Robert Rodriguez's kids' names. Did you like that?
Didn't know it till now.
What a great nod to his children.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture.
It's a beautiful gesture. I think
be exciting if you're a kid.
Wait, I'm looking. I'm just to make sure.
I know
Rocket Racer Rebel. Those he had already had those by the time Spy Kids 2 came out, and then he had Rogue and Rhiannon further along the line. Now he has, of course, 5 kids. An incredible family man, Henry, if you ignore the fact that he cheated on his wife with Rose McGowan on the set of Grindhouse. But what a beautiful family man he is.
I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. God, poor Rose McGowan. Can't she just find a nice guy?
No,
Jesus
she's an asshole too, Henry.
Oh, she's fine.
They deserve each other, Robert Rodriguez and Rose McGowan.
All that shit she went through with Weinstein, and then wasn't she with Marilyn Manson for a while?
Hey, she got herself into that relationship, as far as I'm concerned.
Ugh, God.
I think she's a basket case, man. And of course, she's gone through horrible shit, and unforgivable shit has been done to her, of course, which all leads somewhere. But I also think that she's a total basket case.
Okay. Anyway.
All right, H-Dog. This movie comes out March 30th, 2001.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On a budget of $35 million. And what did you think it was cheaper?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I did.
I have some theories on the looks of these movies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I want to hear them. Okay.
Okay, the movie makes $147.9 million at the box office. It's a big hit for the kids set. Comes in at number 17 in America for the year, which is a very respectable number.
Yeah.
It made slightly less than Dr. Dolittle 2 and slightly more than Black Hawk Down, a movie I just rewatched and wasn't as good as I remembered. And
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, well, it's all right. It's a little Bruckheimer for my taste. All right. Henry, this movie was nominated for two awards. Let's talk about them. Firstly, the Saturn Awards. He was so ready.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa! Sci-fi best of films.
Impressive job, Henry. This film was nominated for Best Fantasy Film of the Year. Unfortunately, it did come out the same year as Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, so that won.
Right. Of course.
It was also nominated for one KCA, Henry.
Oh, all right.
It's the Kids' Choice Awards. It's KCA to you, but it's the kids making the choice, yeah.
I know your favorite Kids' Choice Award category is Favorite Male Butt Kicker. And that year, Antonio Banderas was nominated for Spy Kids, but he lost to Jackie Chan for Rush Hour 2.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've covered.
Sure.
That's the movie with Jeremy Piven as the gay hairdresser or whatever.
Right. That's still, I think, some of our best coverage.
Rush Hour?
I don't know why, but I remember those episodes fondly as being high quality. Not that everything we do isn't high quality.
I remember being really upset about how they changed the little... Remember, like, the constable's daughter or whatever changed for the third movie? She was like a real tomboy in the first one, and then the third one they made her a girl's girl, and I was pissed off that they had altered the character.
Wow, I don't remember that at all. Okay.
That's what I remember from those episodes.
All right.
Spy Kids. I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It opens on a long, Troublemaker Studios logo. You got that. That's Rodriguez's studio, his own home studio, Henry. And you'll see he's added a little fella to the logo, little troublemaker.
Yeah,
did you notice him?
That. I did.
And then in the second one, you get to see him as a mascot at that amusement park.
I saw that as well. Yeah.
Good catch, Henry.
Thanks.
Do you like that little guy?
I mean, it's like a lot of the things in the movies that aren't human. It seems to be more of something that you would kind of like be sitting in a class you were really bored with, and then just kind of scribble out an idea that's a quick idea. And then,
well, that's what a lot of the ideas from this movie come from, Henry. Robert Rodriguez, his strategy with kids' movies. And I do want to say, Tim and I have covered multiple Robert Rodriguez films on We Love Kids Movies. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl in 3D.
Okay.
And then we talked about the recent Netflix movie We Can Be Heroes, which takes place in the same universe as Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but is not a sequel.
Okay.
So what we learned from those movies, which both took place later in his career, is that he uses ideas from his kids. All right?
Clearly.
So
right.
he takes ideas. They're all his kids' dreams. Like Racer Rodriguez or something. Like he told a bedtime story one night about like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and he made a movie out of it. You know, Shyamalan kind of did the same thing with Lady in the Water. That was like based on some shit his kids did. But at this point, the first Spy Kids movie, his kids were still mad young. So like they weren't really given ideas yet. He was taking ideas from his own childhood.
Okay.
So apparently a few of the images in this film are taken from sketches and scribbles that Mr. Rodriguez did as a kid, including those little thumb guys.
Yeah.
Did you like those little thumb guys?
I mean, you know, here's the thing. You know, like a lot of it, all of it, let me just say all of it just seemed like sort of like a Guillermo del Toro completely unthought through design.
I completely agree, but here's the thing. I don't believe Guillermo del Toro's movies are thought through. And so for me, a lot of this movie felt like, what would a Guillermo del Toro movie be like if he actually knew how to have fun? Because Guillermo del Toro is always like, yo, I'm going to make like a sweet monster movie, but it's going to be about like women in the Civil War getting raped.
Or unfortunately, Del Toro, he takes a subject and goes so far when he's being serious and then pulls it back, and it's always like a little hopefully kind of glittery fairy dust at the end, which is always unfortunate because I don't think that he's a bad director. I'm not a fan of his movies, but I think it'd just be nice to see him do something different. Anyway, but
we don't share a worldview because I'm not naive and I'm not a baby.
Who doesn't share a worldview?
I don't share a worldview with Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. But see, the problem, one of the problems with the creatures and the thumb guys, or the creatively called the thumbs.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
Was that everything in the movie looked like little kids' shows, both in idea, quality, and execution. So they really looked like an episode of The Wiggles or Barney or Blue's Clues came up in my head a lot.
Right. I think that's a little harsh.
I do not at all. And even the sets. The sets look like they were like on Mr. Rogers type, like the train going through.
Part of that is because, Henry, they're riffing on kids' television in this film with the Floopy Floop, Alan Cummings' great kid show that young Junie watches.
Yeah, he almost got my LVP, Alan Cummings.
You're out of your mind.
But it's beat. Someone else beat it.
I don't even know if I have an LVP in this great film.
Okay.
I mean, I'm mostly exaggerating, but I mean.
Oh shit.
But I'm also a little serious. Where were we?
I know. You were really giving starting a plot description.
I was trying to.
No, then you asked my opinion of the thumbs.
Oh, I guess so.
You interrupted yourself. Yeah.
I guess I do that. All right, so we fade in. Hey, how about this? Robert Rodriguez did something interesting in the credits that I'd never noticed before that I think more directors should adopt.
What's that?
It said, next to his name, the first credit, a film by Robert Rodriguez, he threw on the other end of his name, written and directed by. So he didn't need an additional credit later in the credits.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's nice when directors just throw the whole shebang in one visual, written,
directed, edited, produced.
Well, that's the thing, is that you gotta be careful because that can come across as very pretentious too. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think throwing the written and directed with a film by shows humility on Robert Rodriguez's part.
Yeah. Well, that was wise on this movie to show humility, I think.
It's a wise
It's
film.
good. It is.
So we zoom in past some rocky waters. Sort of looks like the beginning of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And we go into a house at the shore where a young multiracial couple lives with their 2 kids. And it's Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino. And, Rodriguez regulars.
Yeah.
Do you know Gugino from stuff?
Well, of course, but I didn't know she was. I couldn't pull her. What's her Rodriguez resume prior to this?
I don't believe prior to this, but certainly after this, she was.
Okay.
I believe she showed her little girls in Sin City.
Ah, of course she did.
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone was naked in that movie, right? Except for Alexis Bledel. She was like, "I'm out."
I despise that movie with a special loathing, so I'm not
Boy,
sure.
it's a good movie, and we'll cut. Rodriguez is a real franchise all-star, and it's amazing we actually haven't done more of him yet, because he's got the fucking mariachi franchise, and
Well, I've wanted to do that for a while. Yeah.
yeah, and there's Spy Kids, and From Dusk Till Dawn was like a home video franchise.
Right. True. That's right.
Am I leaving any out?
We never.
Sin
I don't know, we
City, the aforementioned
Right,
Sin City.
Yeah, we never got to him. Mariachi was always on my radar. That's a trilogy, right? It ends with the horrendous Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Is that correct?
I mean, I knew you were going to phrase it that way, but yes.
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure if they had a 4th one, but I think that's it.
I don't think so. Although you never fucking know with this guy, because there's also the Machete franchise. And like for years, people have been saying to me, like, hey, when you do Spy Kids, are you going to do Machete? Or when you do Machete, are you going to do Spy Kids? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? No.
Me too. Yeah.
But now, I watch these Spy Kids movies.
Yeah.
He's playing Machete in them.
Yeah. Is it the same Machete, though?
I believe
really?
so.
All right. So I've only seen little bits of the first Machete.
So, listen, we're not going to do Machete like right after this, but watching these movies does put Machete on my radar and makes me more likely to want to cover it soon. Because Machete, one of my favorite characters in these first 2 Spy Kids movies, I'd like to see his further adventures.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm down.
All right. So Gugino is telling her kids it's like a bedtime story,
Right.
And the kids are Alexa Pena Vega. I believe she's just Alexa Vega at this point. And she is, she's still around. She's just a kid at this point. Yeah.
She's alive. That's
What's
good.
the character's name?
Fuck.
Come on. I said Junie like 100 times. What's her name?
Yeah, because they say that name like 1,000. Oh, Carmen.
Carmen, right. Sure. All right, so Carmen is going to bed. Junie, he's in the other room, putting a nighttime routine together. They seem to be working like an OCD angle with this character earlier in the movie, but it kind of goes away right away.
Yeah. He's very trepidatious, very frightful, easily nervous young child.
Yeah, but it seems like a third of the way into the movie, he's already like, down to be a spy. Let's fucking do this.
Yeah, that's true.
This kid is Daryl Sabara, who not heir to the pizza chain, and he is doing some great voice work today. Still acting, Henry.
Is he really?
He is, and he's even married to Meghan Trainor. So we know one thing about Daryl Sabara. He's all about that bass, of course.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Slipping up your ass.
By the way, he's slipping the bass every night.
Slipping up your ass. I was in Spy Kids 1 and 2. Slipping up your ass, man.
And 3 and 4, I believe.
Did he stick around?
I think they all stuck around. This is a real family, Henry.
Okay.
I think we're going to stick with these characters.
I hope so. I hope
too.
so. No, me too. Me too. Yeah.
Okay, so immediately I like the vibe of this family, okay? It's well cast. Carla Gugino's a little young for the mom role, but supposedly Rodriguez did that on purpose because his mom had all his kids when he was young. But also,
How
I
is
was
she
like,
young? I didn't notice that.
she was only like 29 when they made this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks older. She's got kind of that face that just looks like, it's naturally aged.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but I read that in my
That
research.
never occurred to me. Okay, interesting. Huh.
All right, so she tells them the bedtime story of how the two spies fell in love. Okay?
Yes.
And the kids at this point don't know that this story is actually the origin story of how she and Antonio Banderas fell in love.
Yes, it's a true story. It's a true bedtime story.
Yeah. So we get it a little bit in flashbacks, and Antonio Banderas is a total delight, and Carla Gugino is great. I really like these flashback sequences, Henry. Did you?
The flashbacks of them being spies in the very beginning in her bedtime story was the most entertaining part of the film.
I figured you'd, because it's the most down to earth right at the very beginning, and then we start to break into the goof world once we are dealing with Alan Cumming more.
Yeah. I guess the overall surprising thing that just really hit me like a shovel to the face that I wasn't expecting, given the pedigree of who was making it and the money involved and all that kind of stuff, was that I did not prepare myself for how stupid it was in every way, and how bad it looked.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was one of those things where if a first-time filmmaker had come up with these ideas and then attempted to get it sent somewhere, he would be laughed off the fucking lot. But because it's Robert Rodriguez and he's hot at the time, they just sort of carte blanche him through.
Oh, it's Miramax. They're going to greenlight anything they do. Miriam and Max's Little Hell Children were huge fans of Robert Rodriguez.
Absolutely. And I just, it's a unique thing in the history of what we've covered, because I don't know that I've ever seen something
I want to explain it to you.
So poorly done in every conceivable way by I couldn't believe my eyes. It was mainly disbelief. It wasn't that I'm not into kids movies, it's not my thing and all that shit, but I expected a level of professionalism.
There's not. I believe that Robert Rodriguez is a fan of himself.
Oh, I've thought that for a long, long time.
Okay.
Just the way he talks about himself in interviews and all that kind of stuff, sure.
There's a thing Kevin Smith does periodically where when he's done writing a script, he'll post a picture on the internet of the cover page of the script, and it's always just finished Clerks 3. It's the best thing I've ever written. And he says it every time, and it always seems earnest to me. And it's crazy. And I really believe that Rodriguez must be like this, too. I don't see him writing second drafts. I believe that especially with his kids' work, he believes that a kid's imagination comes in short, simple bursts. And so if he's going to make a film that captures the vibe of a child's imagination, he's never going to do rewrite work, and whatever shows up on the screen is fine. I think you're right. I bet he's not doing a lot of takes. I bet he's concentrating on turning the set into a party, into a family. He eventually will walk Alexa Vega down the aisle at her wedding. I really think that this is what Robert Rodriguez is looking for from this film, at the expense of entertaining people. And he continuously does it because he builds this studio down in Austin, Texas, where he lives. And he has an editing studio in his house. He edits the film as he goes so that by the time they're done filming, he's already got a complete project to show Miramax. He works with cheap effects studios, including one that he started up himself with local Austin, Texas guys, and it's whatever's available at the time. He really believes in movies being of the time. So if it's 2001, he's going to use whatever digital effects are available in 2001. He has a huge belief in digital. Then Spy Kids 2 comes out in 2002. In the interim of these two movies, he goes to visit the set of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and absolutely falls in love with George Lucas's digital technology. He shot the entire second film using only digital cameras, only short takes. He didn't use any camera filters. He basically didn't DP the movie.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
He also doubled the amount of effects shots in the second movie while keeping the budget the exact same. He just does not give a fuck about visual. He doesn't care about quality, Robert Rodriguez. He wants to have a job where he's having a fun time making the movies, and then he puts it out, and it's this ephemeral thing, and I genuinely don't think he gives a shit if people above 4 years old enjoy it.
Well, wow, very, very well put, all of that. And I think you're right, because I was trying to think of the age of people that would find this entertaining. And, it's difficult. I can only really reference my nieces, and I can reference myself. And
I think my nieces would like this movie.
But your nieces are going to fall into the category I was about to say. I was thinking that if you are above the age of probably 7, you will not get into this movie. I mean, this is for toddlers.
I don't think it's not. I know where you're coming from, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
but these movies have a following.
Oh, I know they do.
People who watched them when they were kids, and I don't think everybody saw them when they were 4 years old. I think there's a lot of people out there that watched these movies when they were 12. And remember them fondly today.
It could be. And I also had a bizarrely, rapid, I mean, when I was 9, I was renting Beverly Hills Cop. 4th grade, I was already watching shit like that. But, I mean, I'm thinking about,
Robert Rodriguez is a better filmmaker than Martin Brest.
I saw your review of Scent of a Woman, one of your longest reviews, but one of your best.
I had a lot to say.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it is the worst piece of shit.
It's awful.
I always knew it was a piece of shit, and it's so beyond what I even thought.
No,
it's one of the worst pieces of shit.
It's insufferable. No, it's insufferable. But yeah, so I'm just picturing people watching this, kids watching this movie, and I just feel like it would be shown to maybe a 1st grade class, kindergarten class. There's that kind of vibe to it, which is totally fine. But I got the impression pretty strongly that he's aiming for slightly older kids. And, I do think he's watching this. I can't imagine.
But I think they are, man.
12-year-olds are watching Marvel movies.
But
they're watching. They're not.
It's different now than it was back then. And look, Spy Kids, it does have stuff for adults in it. It is doing a little bit of the Shrek thing where it's trying to appeal to adults. And I'm an adult, and it kind of appealed to me. I liked both. I mean, let's talk about the cast because that's the part I wanted to talk about.
Well, I just wanted to make another point about what your point was because I think it's really important about your thesis about Robert Rodriguez and his process. I think it's really important. From everything you described, I knew some of it and some of that Austin stuff. But what I think the problem is that his filmmaking technique is not up to the type of artist that he actually is. So if he were a Stanley Kubrick who retreats to his cottage and does everything you just said that Rodriguez does, it would be very, at least in later years, it would be very different. But Robert Rodriguez, he's not talented enough to not get other people's
He's
opinions.
not trying to be Stanley Kubrick. He's
No,
trying to
he's
put
not
out mass entertainment, and he wants to be prolific. Rodriguez sometimes puts out 2 movies a year.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it sounds to me like from your description that he's doing everything in a vacuum, and that he's having fun doing it. But it also seems like he does not strike me at all like the kind of guy who would like screen it for a friend and have a friend go, Bob.
I think he would screen it for friends as like a fun party thing, like come over and watch my new movie. That's Robert Rodriguez. Everything is about having a good time. Like I really think his film shoots are more directed at enjoying himself than
Right.
It's odd. But I don't hate it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the Spy Kids. What did you think of Alexa Vega and Daryl Sabara?
I thought that the girl was pretty decent. I think that's also because she probably had like a straightforward role as kind of like the tough older sister. I thought her line delivery for a kid was pretty decent. I thought the boy was pretty awful in every way.
My impulse was to say that because he was such like an ain't I a stinker Bart Simpson type, but I ended up enjoying him.
I couldn't, but it's weird because I guess you could actually see despite the dreck that he's given to do, you can actually see in the second movie. I feel like he's better, and I feel like that's only because he got better as even in the year. It's only a year between these movies. I feel like he was able to be a better performer in the second movie. I know I don't often notice stuff like that, but I notice like a distinction between his acting in the first one and the second one.
I think Rodriguez is he's good at casting kids that have an ineffable it factor.
Yeah, well, I think the girl probably had a little of that. I don't know what she's up to now, but she's kind of like got a little tiny commanding presence.
Let's see. Lately, Alexa Vega. Most recently, Henry. Some kind of a TV movie. Hallmark Channel.
Good for her. Good for her.
That's what she's doing.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for her.
All right.
And
She
the other
had a
kids,
great
up to pace.
music career as well.
Yeah, well, you said they're it kids, not me. I don't know. That's what he looks for, you think?
I think that he captures children that have some kind of a charisma. We noticed that doing the other movies. Like we both really liked the girl that plays Lava Girl in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I don't know. I think he's good at casting kids that aren't annoying, are relatively natural. He's probably good at directing them too, because he directs his sets with such lightness that they are probably like just having a good time.
Right.
You can see that in some of the bloopers on Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams.
Yeah, which I only watched because you told me I had to.
Well, I really just wanted you to see the Angus Young thing.
Oh, the Angus Van Halen comment?
No, when little Daryl Sabara was dressed as Angus Young and shit.
Oh, I didn't think that. He's just wearing the outfit he's been wearing for 2 months.
But he was doing that like guitar thing that Angus Young does, where he holds the stem up.
Oh, all right. I didn't catch that. I didn't think that.
Fucking ridiculous.
He didn't do a duck walk or anything.
He did.
He did not do a duck walk.
He did all that shit.
Oh, well, more power to him.
Daryl Sabara, he's fighting his heart out to entertain you, and you're not even listening.
He's holding pizza up. He's ordering pizza.
All right, then you got Alan Cumming as like a kid's performer, but it turns out that his minion, played by Tony Shalhoub, playing a character named Alexander Minion, is actually the lead villain.
Right.
Okay, now what'd you think of these villains? Now, you also have Robert Patrick hanging around, and you've got Terry Hatcher, who gets most of her head shaved at one point.
Right.
She's my LVP.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking hate Terry Hatcher.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's she's not a great
Actor?
She's not in the pantheon of great actresses. Yeah. I thought they were pretty awful. Alan Cumming.
Makes
I mean,
Erica
even-
Durance look like Margot Kidder. Am I right?
Ooh, look at him looking around the room for the crowd. I love it. I mean, what are they? He comes up with the name Floop.
Yeah.
So Floop.
But
the
this
name.
is, I think it's the first thing he came up with, Henry.
I
I
agree.
think it's all
Really?
just the first thing that crosses his mind.
But see, here's the thing: is that Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn. You know, I know that Tarantino co-wrote it. I don't remember, but you know, those might be movies that are made on the fly too. But either for me, he's completely out of his element, or in those movies. I mean, those movies were done with care.
I agree. That's not what he's doing in those movies. I think to capture the children's brain, he's changed his entire filmmaking style for these movies, but he does it consistently for the rest of his career.
See, I don't know that because I've only seen, I mean, Planet Terror and Sin City. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, but I guess
mostly makes kids movies now. Like
is that right?
when he
Yeah.
does something like Sin City at this point, that's an outlier.
That's so bizarre to me. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just the whole thing, all that stuff, the introduction of the villains and their costumes and having Tony Shalhoub, you know, basically do sort of a Saturday morning kids show villain, you know, and Alan Cumming acting up a storm, you know, going all over the place.
It was weird to see Alan Cumming in this role in 2001. It was an odd time for Alan Cumming. I don't understand. Like, he came off of Broadway. Like, that's how he got really known in America, was he played the MC in Cabaret on Broadway. And that was such a huge deal. And then they put him in like a series of Hollywood movies where he like never sung or danced ever.
Yeah, he had some weird appearances. I remember a movie he did with Jennifer Jason Leigh that was a good movie called The Anniversary Party.
He wrote and directed that movie with Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I saw that in theaters, yeah.
But I mean, but that's what he was doing on his own. I mean, like Hollywood was putting him in as the Great Gazoo in the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Right. Yeah, he got this rep as like some sort of completely non-serious actor, and meanwhile, he has one of many great, weird, tense scenes in Eyes Wide Shut. Fucking Kubrick threw him in that. Remember his long sequence in that?
Absolutely. He has a lot of stuff like that in the 90s where he shows up and is just like fucking awesome in something. He's in GoldenEye.
I was just going to say, was that him in GoldenEye? I couldn't remember. Yeah, he's like a hacker or something.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah. Hey, so he's doing this in this movie, and I was actually thankful for his appearance in The Island of Lost Dreams because I thought it was so weird that he didn't sing in this one. That he had like one little cameo in the second one where he just sung a little song for no reason.
Right, correct. So Floop's got this kid likes these toys, these Fooglies.
Oh yeah.
Who are what I was kind of talking about at the beginning, like these sort of Del Toro-esque kind of Play-Doh animation.
They look just every bit as good as anything in a Guillermo del Toro movie.
I can't say that, even though you know how I feel about
I am not even fucking with you.
They look like Pee-wee's They look like Pee-wee's Playhouse things. They look like Chair. They should just have little Chair run around. Cherry. Yeah. I mean, they literally look like that, man. You know, and it's just like, what the fuck am I watching? And actually, it was weird too because I didn't know we were gonna take the leap in the beginning of the movie to like the supernatural mad scientist type thing. Mm-hmm. I thought it was gonna be like a more grounded kind of silly kid being
I'm
spy.
actually okay that they did that because the spy parody stuff that they do early on in the movie comes across so stale, and I can only think that it did at the time too, because it's 2001. Like, we are in between Austin Powers 2 and 3 at this point, and like we're just doing the same shit. Like the score is that same like heightened spy music, and then Alan Cummings' lair is like in a volcano, like that, and he's got like a henchman that's a minion guy, and
right.
you know, it came across so Dr. Evil to me.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's Tony Shalhoub's outfit, even. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Shalhoub at first is sort of, and then he grows all his heads and stuff.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I like Tony Shalhoub, but anytime Tony Shalhoub's doing anything, like if he's got any prosthetics involved, I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Men in Black.
Yeah, I'm not big on him in Men in Black.
Yeah, I know. I miss him in things like just like Big Night. You know, like where he could just kind of
stuff like that though. Like he's great on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Just delivering a shit ton of dialogue. You know.
Yeah, just play a guy.
Yeah,
Don't get Johnny Depp syndrome.
I completely agree. I completely agree. You know, and I mean, he did that quirky monk for all those years, and I think that really, I think that told him somehow that audiences want him to be wacky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't want him to be wacky. You're right. I want him to hey, watch at the stove.
Yeah. What do you like it to sell here? A hot dog and ketchup? Hot dog French fries?
That's good. You remember that. Well done.
Yeah, that's one of my that's probably the only line in the whole movie I remember. Yeah.
All right, so it turns out that there were previous spies that went on a mission to take down this figure, and they were turned into these little creatures, right?
Right. Correct.
So now they have to send more spies to try and save those people, namely Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino. Now, they go off on this spy mission, which is a delight. I like any time they're on a spy mission together. Probably my favorite movies. I mean, it's probably not a great thing that my favorite moments in Spy Kids are all with the adults.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Yeah.
But I didn't feel that way in the second one. I only felt that way in this one.
Okay.
Because by the second one, I felt like I wanted to follow the kids.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, the second one has also a scene stealer in it, which
one of the kids?
No, which perked me up. Big
Who was
time.
it?
It was Steve Buscemi.
That's your scene stealer? I gotta tell you, I wasn't that into Buscemi in the movie.
I was so happy to see him. It was like I felt like a cascade of waterfall just hit me over the head.
Goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Well, now they get captured, Banderas and Gugino.
Yes.
So we gotta send the kids after them. Cheech Marin, who plays their uncle, says, "I'm not actually your uncle. I'm like your parents' handler or whatever."
Right.
So he's gonna take them to the OSS. I don't know why it's called the OSS. I don't know if they're trying to reference the pre-World War II CIA.
Look at you! I didn't think you would know that.
Gotta be honest, I learned that from a Jean Dujardin movie.
That's okay. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Jesus, Robert, you can't even come up with a fucking original acronym? Lord have mercy. It's a World War II Office of Strategic Services. Yeah. Okay, well, whatever. Who cares? It's OSS.
Okay, so they get sent off on the mission. They're told all about it. So they go do it. And they need supplies and shit. Or, wait, do they not get sent to the mission? They decide they're going to do the mission once Cheech spills the beans, right?
Yeah, they escape the thumb creatures in a escape hatch, which I believe then takes them to a safe house where they are gathering weapons.
Well, they go to this. They find their. Now that they know all this information about their parents, they go off and they find their father's actual brother, which is Danny Trejo as Machete, And
Correct.
he's got a little safe house, and he's not going to let them go on the mission, but he lets them sleep overnight there. And in the middle of the night, they have a mission to go steal some weapons, and they're able to do it without waking Danny Trejo, which I don't buy for 1 second, because kids are so fucking loud, and they don't know how to be quiet.
They're very loud.
Like, Spy Kids as a concept is antithetical, because kids could not spy on shit.
You're right about that. Wow. So right. Yeah. They're just loud.
They're
And,
loud. They fucking smell. They're obnoxious. They can't sit still that long. Are you kidding me? These fucking Spy Kids, they're going to be in an air duct for like 5 minutes and start complaining about how they're thirsty.
Yeah, plus they're trying to sneak past fucking former prison inmate Danny Trejo. I think he's got eyes in the back of his head, folks. I don't think he's getting pulled over by these kids. But
They're clever kids.
They're very, very clever. They're very clever.
Listen, they come from the loins of Gugino and Banderas, two of the
do.
greatest super spies in the world.
That's very true. It's very true. And one of the guys who gets turned into the Play-Doh creature is Mike Judge.
Well, I was going to save him for the second movie because he's like an actual character in that movie. But
He's in this too.
Mike Judge, yeah, he's like the head of the OSS. You know, Mike Judge never looks how I know what he looks like, but every time I see him, I'm like, that's the guy that created Beavis and Butthead?
It's very funny.
He seems like such a fucking square. Like his voice in real life, actually, like of the characters he does, sounds probably closest to Hank Hill from King of the Hill.
Yeah. Well, he's not the head of the OSS in this movie. He's just a victim so far.
Oh, he's one of those spies that, Donegan is his name.
Yes.
I know that off the top of my head.
That's pretty good. Because I believe Devlin, which I just from my head, played by George Clooney as a favor, is probably the head of the OSS, I believe.
Oh, like he's like Charlie.
Right.
Did you like his cameo at the end of the movie with those glasses that make it look like they're covering his eyes? I thought it was pretty cute.
I was so happy that I was coming to the end of it. I don't know that I ever checked a running time more in the last year and a half.
Oh, stop it. This was an hour and 29 minutes. I got through this movie real easy.
Yeah. I know.
Do you know who one of the other spies was a filmmaker too? One of those guys that got taken captive. Did you know that?
Who was that?
Richard Linklater.
Oh yeah, I read that he was one of them, but I
didn't notice him in the first one, but then he has another cameo in the second one, and I did notice him there.
Did not. I don't think I. Now he's a guy I know what he looks like, but I don't think I could even point him out in a lineup.
He's got a floppy hair. He looks like he'd be a character in a Richard Linklater movie. I
always confuse what he looks like with like Cameron Crowe.
They look similar. Cameron Crowe's uglier. But Linklater, he works down in Austin too, so he and Rodriguez are friends.
Sure.
I did notice him in the second one. During that banquet at the beginning of the movie, he gets his head pushed into his food. It's very funny.
Oh yeah, when they all get sort of drugged or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very funny. And his daughter, who was later in Boyhood as the sister, was one of the spies that were like running amok at the beginning there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you could say they were having a waking life.
It's a family affair. This is what I'm telling you. Rodriguez, we're just watching his family reunions.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I just don't know that makes it good.
I gotta tell you, you know what's helping me? Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which was such a piece of shit, dude. Like, it makes this movie look so coherent. And
I can't imagine that.
Like, this movie, I can take you point by point through the plot and, like, tell you everything that happened. I cannot do that with Shark Boy and Lava Girl. There's, like, a lot of dream logic involved. Their teacher becomes a supervillain named Mr. Electricidad, and he's played by George Lopez. And he becomes a giant television set, and they have powers. It's very weird.
I feel like maybe Quentin should just go out and get drunk with Robert for a little bit and tell him, remember when you and I used to make those cool movies?
I don't want them to hang out. I think Robert Rodriguez is a charismatic guy. He's going to have Quentin making kids movies.
He'll be like, Quentin, when you said you were...
I think we're going to see Quentin in a Spy Kids, by the way. I can't believe we haven't yet.
Yeah, I mean, he would do it for him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a cameo in one of these Spy Kids movies.
Well, we haven't seen 3 and 4.
Yeah. He should have cameoed in that second one because there was that pretty killer 4 Rooms reference. Did you catch that shit?
No, I did not.
There's a shot early on in Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams, where Antonio Banderas is trying to comb his son's hair back, and he's having a hard time. That is identical to a shot from the Robert Rodriguez part of 4 Rooms, where it's Antonio Banderas again trying to comb his son's hair back.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. No. I didn't make that connection. Yeah. That's another one where he uses in 4 Rooms. He's got the kids segment, but it's good.
He's got the best segment in that movie.
Yeah. The last segment's
I gotta be honest. In my mind, Rodriguez has squared off against Tarantino twice and beat him both times.
Ooh, yeah, so we're talking Planet Terror and Death Proof, right?
That's right. Grindhouse and 4 Rooms. These are 2 instances where it was legit head-to-head. Rodriguez versus Tarantino.
That is a toughie.
I'm going Rod 2-0.
I don't think so. I really like...
Robert Godriguez.
Yeah. What was that joke on Letterboxd?
That's just a nickname I've come up with for him.
So stupid. I don't know. That's tough. I always liked the Rodriguez thing in 4 Rooms, but the Tarantino one kind of is really awesome. And Death Proof, I need a rewatch of the whole Grindhouse movie, but Death Proof's pretty awesome too as Planet Terror. I don't know. That's close. You're right though. That's a good matchup. Yeah.
He brings his A game when he's got to compete.
Fucking A. Capitalism at its finest.
Yeah. All right. So, boy, I mean, is there anything more you want to say? It's a pretty fun movie. They start putting the robots out there. They're turning celebrities' children into robots. That's the evil plan. Yeah,
they got, what are they saying? They have princes.
My favorite was, at one point, he said the general's daughter, which I'm pretty sure was a reference to the 1999 film The General's Daughter, about the general's daughter getting brutally raped and left for dead in the middle of a military site.
That's the John Travolta movie, correct?
Yeah, boy, you'll watch that movie, and you'll enjoy yourself.
I will never see that movie. I've never seen it. I had no interest when it came out, and I've never wanted to see it since.
It's bad, but I kind of like it. It looks good. It's one of those movies that's so much more professional looking than it needs to be.
Who's the director of it? Is it somebody like a pedigree?
I think it's Simon West, the guy that made Con Air.
Oh, well, he knows how to shoot a film. Yeah. Sure. That's funny.
Yeah, anyway. What do you give Spy Kids on a level of 1 to 5?
Oh, wow, that's it. All right.
Wait, you have more to say about the Spy Kids?
No, I just thought you were going to keep going. Yeah, I guess we covered a lot of it. This is a really, really bad movie in every single conceivable way. And I do read now that I forgot to mention that one of his influences was Willy Wonka. And that is all over this movie. So this is awful. 1 star.
I mean, it's not a 1. It's definitely not a 1.
I definitely think it's a 1. I had no hesitation. It's got nothing to. It can't. It doesn't. For me, it doesn't give me anything to latch on to.
I am between a 2 and a 3 on both of these films.
Oh, it sounds like a 3 from what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3. All right. Listen, I like Spy Kids.
Just get it. Yeah. Don't be ashamed. You liked the movie? You had a good time?
I can see myself watching these again, Henry.
Okay, all right. I mean, for me, this is like Chinese water torture. This is a very unpleasant experience. But
Do we still say Chinese water torture?
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
don't believe that's been thrown out of the vernacular.
The lexicon.
Do you want me to say waterboarding? Is that better?
Yeah, definitely. Let's bring up our evil practices.
American police procedures. Let's talk. By the way, folks, guilty on all 3 counts. Happened right before we recorded.
Yep. He'll be out of there by 2026.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Henry, who's your MVP?
Antonio Banderas.
Banderas, we didn't talk about the parents that much because they're captured like most of the movie, but they are so... I really think Gugino and Banderas have great chemistry. Like, they immediately strike me not only as a married couple, but as a family. Like, the 4 of them. Like, they do a really good job in that early scene in their house, setting them up as a family unit. And we even get to see them, like, around the neighborhood at first. Like, we see them, like, driving the kids to school, and they're worried that the son doesn't have any friends. And that's all kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think Antonio Banderas, I've always liked him. He's always just been one of those actors that I've always had a good time when I watch him. And
I've appreciated him more on my rewatch project.
Yeah.
He is really fucking good in a series of films from the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
he had a nice little run for a while there.
Yeah, and I loved him in. He's absolutely amazing in that The Skin I Live In.
The Skin I Live. Yeah, he's great in. He's worked with Almodovar a few times. I mean, going back to, I'm looking at his filmography now. He does.
Yeah, read me some.
Philadelphia in '93. He's fantastic in that movie.
He's great in that. Yeah.
Then Interview with the Vampire in '94. He's the best part of that shitty movie.
Yeah.
He does Desperado and 4 Rooms in '95, along with like silly stuff like Assassins and Miami Rhapsody. And then he does Evita, which whatever. He does the Zorro movie.
He's great as Zorro. I loved the first Zorro.
But then look at this run in the early aughts. I'm skipping ahead a little bit.
By the way, Zorro, another fun franchise to cover.
I didn't like that movie.
I never saw the second one.
Me neither.
You didn't like it. I loved it. I saw it in theater.
He does Femme Fatale with De Palma. He does Frida. He goes back to Desperado. He does another Zorro movie. Like he's made like 15 movies that I could recommend to people.
Yeah, no, he's cool, man. I always liked him. I remember listening to an interview recently when he was promoting that movie. I didn't see it, but it was a big deal last year where he played. It was Almodovar movie about he plays a painter. Do you recall this movie?
Yeah, I do, but I don't remember. Is it one of his originals or a recent one?
Almodovar?
Yeah.
No, it's a recent movie. Yeah.
Is it this one, Pain and Glory?
Yes. And I didn't see it, but I wanted to see it. And his interview was just so wonderful. He's just such a lovely guy, like just such a nice person.
Yeah,
he's just a nice guy. But anyway,
Pedro gave him a start with Matador, Law of Desire, and Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. And Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. So he's in 4 Almodovar films before he even comes to America.
Yeah. So the guy is great. He held my attention. And he's got a nice like innocent quality to him where you kind of just know he's there for fun and all.
Why don't you watch that Pablo Picasso miniseries he was in and let me know how that was?
What was that again? I know.
Do you know there's that like it's called Genius where they do like a different biopic every year.
Remember this, but that was on a real lousy network.
It was on like National Geographic or something, or like Discovery or something. And
I want to, yeah.
Right. So they started off with Jeffrey Rush as Einstein, and then they did him as Picasso.
Yeah.
And now I think they're doing like Aretha. Someone's like Cynthia Erivo is going to play Aretha Franklin or something like that.
Well, she's great.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to watch any of that. But
I like how they called the show Genius. They did Einstein first, great, and then we went to a painter and a singer, cool.
Wait a second. Oscars should be on there.
Is Aretha Franklin a genius? We're gonna use that word. I love Aretha Franklin. She's literally one of my favorite kind of musician ever. But yeah,
we've talked about it many times. Who's a genius? The word is used. The word is used in an insane way.
Who's your? You went with Banderas. I loved his pencil thin mustache.
Yeah, I went with the LVP is the kid Junie.
He's not the LVP. I'm gonna go with MVP. Straight up, Danny Trejo. Loved him in this.
Okay.
Yeah, and then LVP Hatcher.
Yeah, I mean she's pretty bad in everything. I specifically remember her being very bad in a really fun a movie you would love to watch on your rewatch project. If you've never seen it, did you ever see Heaven's Prisoners?
No.
Oh my God, dude! Alec Baldwin, Terry Hatcher, Eric Roberts, in the Bayou, sweating up a storm. Kelly Lynch.
Oh, I'm listening.
Lots of violence, crying, sex and sweating, and Terry Hatcher just skulking around in a lingerie.
That sounds good.
I always thought it was totally fun. It's such a piece of trash, total trash. I think it's directed by somebody who's.
I think so too. I feel like I've come across it in my travels.
Yeah, I don't remember who the director is.
I'm looking it up right now.
Like Philip Junot or something?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Holy shit.
Nailed that.
Wow.
He hasn't done much. He did State of Grace and Final Analysis with Richard Gere. Gridiron Gang with The Rock.
I saw Final Analysis, The Gear Man. Did you watch that in your Gear project?
No, man. I gotta watch it though because I got back into Gear last year.
You got Uma Thurman, early appearance of Uma Thurman. You got some Kim Basinger. Yeah,
exciting stuff.
Who's your LVP?
I said Terry Hatcher. Now we're moving on to Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams.
So for the people logging at home, you are giving this 3.
Yeah.
Official.
All yes.
Right. 3 stars. All right.
I'm giving it a 3. And honestly, I think I like Spy Kids 2 even more. So I might be giving this one a 3 too.
All right.
All right. Just a warning.
No warning needed, bro.
All right. Island of Lost Dreams. Rodriguez is back to write and direct. He only took a year to make this movie.
And that was
what a turnaround. Spy Kids gets released March 30th, 01. Spy Kids 2 is released August 7th, 02.
Well, I mean, if he makes them like you say he makes them, then they're not that hard to produce. They're not that hard to do.
I mean, he turns them around.
I mean, basically the same budget.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
And then he does Spy Kids 3 the very next year, along with Once Upon a Time in Mexico the same year. Which might explain your feelings on Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters. That was rough.
I did too. Enjoyed every second of it. This film had a slightly raised budget, but not much. Of course, he turned down the bigger budget that they offered him of $38 million, and the box office was $119.7 million. Came in at number 31 at the box office. It made slightly less than The Scorpion King and slightly more than Blade 2, which actually looks identical to this film.
Blade 2?
Yeah.
Seen Blade 2 in fucking ages, man. Mm-hmm. What do you mean looks identical?
The digital effects are as good as each other.
I don't know about that.
Oh, really? Try watching Blade 2 in the year 2021. Because I tried to watch it in the year 2016 and could not believe it. All right. So we're back, Henry. We're back to with our cast. And
did we win any awards this year for this movie?
No, we weren't even nominated for any.
Okay, good.
All right. So it starts with the kids are part of the OSS. You know,
They are in the OSS.
they've
Yep.
opened up a new agency, OSS Junior.
Right. It's child.
Did you notice that it was called Junior?
Yes. Yes. James Bond Jr.
Nice. So, you know, we have to save the president's daughter, right? That's first things first.
Christopher McDonald.
Christopher McDonald is the president, but I more want to talk about the daughter, Henry. The great Taylor Momsen!
As usual, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. Of course I don't.
Oh, but do you know who I'm talking about? This is, of course, the blonde girl, the president's daughter, who was later a love interest to Junie. By the way, the Spy Kids in this movie have love interests.
Yeah, they seem a little young, but hey,
It's insane.
what else? Oh, I see Taylor Munn. Now I see why you're excited. She's on Gossip Girl.
That's not the only reason, Henry. The great Taylor Momsen, of course, a child actor. She was the main Who kid in Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, excuse me. It's just the Grinch.
No, I believe it's Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas full title.
I believe that's the cartoon.
Oh, you might be right about that. Somebody let me know in the comments. Henry, what was I talking about?
No, you're right. It's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Thank you. Okay, so Taylor Momsen. She then goes on to get the very crucial role of Little J, Jenny Humphrey, on Gossip Girl.
Okay.
Sticks with that show for the first 3 seasons, then has a nervous breakdown and leaves. All right? But turns out it wasn't a nervous breakdown after all. She just had to follow her truth. She thought Gossip Girl was bullshit, and she's actually a hard rocker. Okay? So
this is one hell of a Wikipedia page.
can you try to Google what she looks like as a hard rocker?
I already did.
Okay.
I already have it here.
Yeah.
She's
So she
got
leaves Gossip Girl and forms a band called The Pretty Reckless.
Yeah, she's got
And-
a pretty big guitar with a Punisher sticker on the.
That's great.
And she cites her influences. She cites. Would you like to hear some of her
I'd
influences?
love to.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell. The Beatles.
Just
Led
the singers, not the bands.
No.
I don't give a fuck about Kim Thayil or Chris Novoselic.
The Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Pink Floyd, AC/DC,
Oh,
Marilyn Manson, Oasis, Shirley Manson of Garbage. So she likes individuals from.
that's right. She's like, I'm not a Butch Vig guy, but give me Shirley Manson all day.
Put out 4 albums, man. Wow.
The Pretty Reckless. This is what I'm saying. Is when they first came out, I looked upon them as a total joke. And now they've been around for like 13 years or something.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's wild stuff. So that's where she's at, and here she is in this movie, just looking like a dewy young lady.
Looks like she was in Paranoid Park, too.
Oh yeah, she is in Paranoid Park. She plays like his girlfriend in that.
Wow. All right. Weird career for Taylor Momsen.
Totally. Yeah, and I remember seeing her in Paranoid Park back then, going like, "Holy fuck, it's fucking Jenny Humphrey." And now I'm like, that makes so much sense that she's in that movie.
Yeah, and she shares a birthday that's between mine and yours, I should say.
A late July
tw-
birthday.
July 26th.
Maybe
yeah.
Taylor Momsen and I are meant to be.
Sure. Yeah, I don't. There's not much of an age gap, honestly. 7 years.
7 years. It's not that bad.
Come on.
It doesn't help that I am, of course, ugly and poor, but no, I'm handsome and poor. Okay,
Cool.
so they save her. She's got something called like the floopy. Both of these movies had like a really obvious MacGuffin that like you don't have to pay attention to at all. Like the first one has one called like the Third Brain that has like,
Right.
all the secrets of the organization, and this one has like the Continuum Transfunctioner.
The Transmooker.
The Transmooker. Okay, so The daughter steals it off her dad's desk in an attempt to have more time with her dad. I love that Junie is giving her advice the whole movie about how she can let her dad in on a conversation with her. He goes like, tell your dad that you really need to talk to him and that it's not urgent, but that you want to talk to him before it becomes urgent.
Right.
And I was like, that's pretty good advice, Junie, frankly.
And, he's, 9?
Something like that.
Believable. Yeah.
Already trying to hook up.
Very wise.
He's already a better boyfriend than I am.
Very wise. And they have competition spies, correct? With Gertie Giggles and Gary Giggles.
That's right, the Giggles twins. Now, they are listed as Spy Kids number 1 and 2 in the Spy Kids rankings, I guess. And then there's Spy Kids 3 and 4, the Giggles twins. And it's a older boy, younger girl situation so that they can, I guess, fuck the other Spy Kids. The older boy, I don't know who this kid is. I think he's just like a rando. Like they thought he might be something, and he's a handsome young boy and never turned into anything. The actor is Matt O'Leary.
Yeah.
I guess he was in stuff at the time. He's in...
Yeah.
Brick. Oh, he's in Live Free or Die Hard. Maybe we should go back and watch that.
Oh, perfect. The Taylor Momsen I saw was also in Hannah Montana, as is Gertie Giggles.
Well, Gertie Giggles was on Hannah Montana a lot because this is Haley Joel Osment's sister, Emily Osment.
I can see the resemblance now.
They look alike. She's actually aged better than he has, but she never really grew as an actor past, like, I'm going to be enthusiastic and I'm going to be cute. And, like, she's still doing that today. And to her credit, as an adult, she's still very enthusiastic and cute. But
it's nice, enthusiastic. I can't relate. But, she also is in a band.
Emily Osment?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What's that band called?
So she's collaborated and recorded tracks with Eve Six, Tom Hickman, Toby Gad, Mandy Perkins, Tony Fagenson, Max Collins, all the greats.
Max Collins, the writer of Road to Perdition?
Hey, she has a single called "Lovesick," and it peaked at.
Let's hear it.
Oh, I don't have that here.
I'll pull it up.
Peaked her chart success. We are better in Finland than her chart success in Canada. I'll say that. So that's something.
All right, here, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to hear "Lovesick" or do you want to hear her top song on Spotify? Let's Be Friends.
Either one sounds like a gem to me.
All right, you brought up "Love." You got me. I'm in.
Wow, it's hooky.
It's even better than Bob Dylan's "Lovesick," the first track off of "Time Out of Mind."
Probably is.
Shut the fuck up.
Time Out of Mind. I remember when that album came out.
You mean 1997?
Yeah, yeah.
Right before Things Have Changed from the Wonder Boys soundtrack.
Yeah, a friend of mine saw him on the Time Out of Mind tour. Said he was absolutely piss drunk the entire show.
Nathaniel saw him on a tour a couple years later and pretty much said the same thing.
That's great.
All right. And he does the same set list now. He goes out and plays the same 12 songs every night. I'm like, why would you do that? You've written thousands of songs.
He doesn't want to do. He doesn't have to. He doesn't know what he doesn't want to learn that.
But he doesn't have to tour either. Go home.
No, he doesn't.
Relax.
His songs are like each 14 minutes long, so it's difficult to remember all those lyrics too. Oh.
Yeah, he knows them all.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he knows all the lyrics to Masters of War.
He knows all the lyrics. I saw the only time I ever witnessed that. I saw Badly Drawn Boy live once. And he kept forgetting his own lyrics, and he was getting frustrated with himself, and he started pulling out lyric sheets and putting them on a guitar stand. And
that sounds like what I used to do in Lord Awesome.
You shouldn't do that. You should memorize your lyrics, Henry.
I can't memorize lyrics.
System, a blow to the spine, a thunder and lightning in the blink of an eye.
Nice.
That's from Shock to the System.
Yeah, stopped doing it after a while because I got better and better, and I just didn't really think it was that necessary to say these words that I wrote so importantly that they were. Yeah, but
Henry, your song "Drink the Danger." Am I allowed to talk about this on air?
About my song,
Am I allowed to talk about your music?
Of course.
All right, I'm just making sure it's not embarrassing to you or something.
No.
All right. Drink the Danger. I get that song stuck in my head sometimes. What is the line after drink the danger?
Let out your anger.
Oh, I don't think I've ever known that. I think for years I've been saying don't be a stranger.
Hey, that works too, man. I don't really take my lyrics seriously, you know, they're meant for fun. So, drink the danger.
All right, so they got these two messing with them. So they go to a banquet where Mike Judge is going to present Antonio Banderas as the new head of the OSS. Of course, Gugino's never considered because she's a woman. I thought that was really weird, I have to say. I'm not even trying to never even a question which one of them is going to be. Very bizarre. Like, I don't think that's 2021 vision. No, I think I would have thought that was weird at the time. Me too. Like, it's just, they don't ever in either movie seem to be not co-equals. It's very strange. I didn't, that was an odd thing to me. And it's presented as the obvious choice. It's very strange. So, in the middle of the speech, what happens is somebody, an evil person, changes the little teleprompter. So he presents it to a different person. I don't remember who, but somebody different. Wait, who's the villain in this movie? Mike Judge. Is it Mike Judge? Wait, so it's not Mike Judge. Mike Judge has to be the one who changes the teleprompter. Somebody else must be reading. I don't fucking remember. Fucking whatever. Maybe it's Cheech or something. Anyway, so Mike Judge takes control of the organization. It turns out he's been a heel this whole time. We probably shouldn't have even saved him in the last movie. Yeah, we turned him back into a human from being a flopper, and now he's a bad dude. Yeah. Meanwhile, sitting back. Yeah, that's fine. Carla Gugino's parents are in town, so we deal with some in-law drama. They don't really like Antonio Banderas, but by the end of the movie, Antonio Banderas, in the best moment in the entire movie, which choked me up. Oh, God. Says... Oh, it's Christ. He saves the grandma and grandpa, and they're like, why'd you save us? And he's like, you're my family. Wow. And that choked you up. And that choked me up. And then one of them says to him, like, there's never going to be a perfect man for our little girl, but you come pretty close. And I was like, that is what he needed to hear. Dan welled up. Yeah. Listen, I'm not doing well these days in general, but, I get it. I, of course, as soon as I saw Holland Taylor, instantly thought of your joke when we did Romancing the Stone, and that's all I could think about every time it's on screen. When you said who we are now to believe that Sarah Paulson, we're all pretending that Sarah Paulson is madly in love. That's not a joke. That's what's happening. That's the way the world is right now. We all have to just look at Sarah Paulson and Holland Taylor holding hands in public and say, yup, that's great. I support that. Okay, but the worst part of the casting in this movie, which I thought was going to be remedied like halfway through the movie with some sort of gag or some kind of better camera angles, a wheelchair-bound Ricardo Montalban never gets up and is literally floating around in a wheelchair. Oh my fucking God. It was so embarrassing. I felt
bad for him. I didn't know. I know.
Why did you feel bad for
like,
him? He hasn't been in a movie in like 15 years.
I know and it's an homage to like one of the great, Latino actors. But like, my God, give the man some dignity. At least put him behind a desk.
It is weird. The caliber of his performance, when he first showed up on screen, led me to believe that he's there for a day for a cameo role. But then Montalban and Holland Taylor earn a lot of screen time in this thing.
Yeah. And you can see Ricardo not all there because he keeps like kind of looking at the camera or looking off, and it's just so sad. It's just kind of like one of those cameos where you're just like, oh man.
He died 7 years later.
Okay, well,
is this his final film? I'm looking it up.
I mean,
Spy Kids 3 is his final film.
Oh boy, we get to see that again.
Yeah, he's in it again. So get ready for more Montalban.
Maybe he can stand in the next one.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, it was funny because at first I was like, I bought into it and I was like, okay, so he's in a wheelchair for the role, and then like towards the middle/end, I was like, can he just not walk in real life and we're just going to use that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's not the first time that's happened. It's like when they did that weird Christopher Reeve remake of Rear Window. Remember that? That was hilarious.
Of course I do, but that was a little different because that was like, we all know and knew that was coming and happening. Like, this is just off. It's weird.
It's pretty
it's
random.
Like, what is going on here? Yeah.
All right, but so we have a new mission, Henry. There's like an island where some more people went missing, and the agents have reported seeing giant monsters on the island. And so they're like, well, we got to figure this out. But since Junie got caught stealing the Transfluxter for his girlfriend, the president's daughter, and because Antonio Banderas and the Spy Kids have now been demoted to second place to the Giggles twins, the Giggles are the ones to be taken to the mission. But the Spy Kids fool Cheech into letting them go on a mission as well, and then they follow them to this mission.
Correct.
All right? And they send them to the wrong place, so they land in the desert in a pile of camel poop, and Haley Joel Osment's sister gets to say, "Camel poop, I'm gonna get you," or something like that.
Somebody's going to pay.
Somebody's going to pay, yeah.
Which I only know because of your review on Letterboxd.
That was my favorite line in the movie. I laughed very loud.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, meanwhile, our real Spy Kids, the ones we care about, Carmen and Junie, meanwhile, Carmen, of course, we haven't even mentioned, wants to fuck the other Giggles. She's
real into Gary.
Yeah, she's flirting with him a lot. Actually, I laughed really hard at that one part where her screensaver pops up on like the front of the ship they're driving underwater.
Okay.
And it's just a collage of pictures of Gary Giggles.
I didn't even see that, dude.
That was funny.
I must have looked away.
Good joke.
All right. That's fun.
So they go to the island. And boy, oh boy, there are large creatures everywhere. But don't even worry about it. We run into Buscemi right away, and he's going to let us in on what's happening. He's a mad scientist who...
Yeah, so when they go to Skull Island, and then they meet the guy from Mystery Science Theater 3000 who keeps those guys captive on the ship, essentially, right? Because that's what Steve Buscemi...
No, I think that they were going for Dr. Moreau.
Dr. Moreau, for sure.
Yeah. He's breeding animal crossbreeds, like in the island of Dr. Moreau. But what he's trying to do, which I actually think is a pretty good plan, and not even an evil plan, just like a good plan, is he's going to breed little miniature animals so that, like, you can have a zoo that's just like a room, right? You could build zoos all over the place. I think it's a great plan. They should take it to Shark Tank, right?
Right.
I'm seeking $150,000 for 15%.
That's it?
Yeah, $150,000 for 15% of my business, Creepster Crawlies. And
I think it takes off. You've really gotten the short end of the stick. $150,000 for.
no, but then they help you get it going, you know? I'm just trying to partner with someone. You don't want to give them too big an evaluation because then they won't invest. If you come in saying $150,000 for 15%, I have no sales, but this is a pretty killer idea. Look at these creepies, and they all come and look at them. And then, you know, Robert Herjavec, he likes to invest in shitty tech stuff. He might do it.
What was your favorite creature?
I guess
That's a great question. What a great question.
I love
Thanks.
that flying pig guy that saved Carmen.
I like that thing too.
I disagreed with Rodriguez because I felt that his favorite creature was the little scorpion guy that pounds his chest. And that's why at the end of the movie, Steve Buscemi gives one of those to Junie as a present to replace his little robot Ralph that had broken.
Right.
I retained everything about this movie for some reason.
Clearly. And you're right on all counts. And, that's not the one I'd want.
I wouldn't either. It's too creepy. It looks gross.
It's the fucking spider monkey or something, you know? And or there was a cat that was it was the head of a cat on something. That was kind of cute. And there was a dog legs on something else. I would
sorry, I have a pillow that's a cat head, and I just put it in front of my face to try and fool Henry into thinking I was a cat.
Dude, that was very Guillermo del Toro-y. Wow. It fits over your head perfect. Where, dare I ask the origin of that pillow?
I purchased it. I have another one, too. It's a different breed of cat, yeah. This one's sort of a Persian, but the other one's like a regular kind of cat, you know?
Can you sleep on this pillow? Is it actual sleepable?
It's comfortable. It works better as sort of like a couch pillow, but I have fallen asleep on it and woken up with no neck problems. Am I 100 years old for saying that?
No, I can relate to everything you're saying.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah, Buscemi.
Let's talk about it. Buscemi, he's a mad scientist. You thought he was the MVP of the movie. I believe Steve Buscemi is one of the 5 greatest actors in the world. He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. He's also a good filmmaker in his own right. I will never say an unkind word about Steve Buscemi, but I do think that he gauged the tone a little off on this performance.
Oh, I don't think. I mean, in what tone? In what way?
I think he's too serious. Like, I think Buscemi's good at goofing it up if need be. When he gets space madness in Armageddon, that is exactly the tone that this Spy Kids performance should be pitched at. Or when he puts on lipstick at the end of Billy Madison or something. This is a mad scientist creating little gummy creatures. Like, fucking make him insane.
So he's not zany enough.
No, he should be zanier.
Yeah, okay. I thought he was pretty zany. I mean, he probably didn't bring his usual manic energy committal.
I feel like he was committing to the story. Like he was working for Robert Rodriguez, and people forgot to tell him it's a Spy Kids movie.
Did he? He's in. I was trying to remember this, and I didn't look it up. Was he? He's been in other Rodriguez films. Was he in Desperado?
He's probably in one of those.
All right. I just didn't know what the connection there was. There always seems to be some kind of connection with Rodriguez.
Steve Buscemi was in all of the movies that came out in the 90s, so he met everybody that worked.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, what happens next, Henry?
Well, they have a fight because Gary and Gertie get there, and they each commandeer an animal.
Yeah, that's right. And see, they kind of, they're heels at this point, but then Alexa Vega, they fall into a big bird's nest. And it's just like that scene in the first Jurassic Park where they feed the Brontosaurus. And you don't even remember.
No.
And so she kind of gets through to Gertie in that scene, and you can see her like seeing the good guys side of things.
Yes, right.
But then when her dad, Mike Judge, shows up later, she turns the Spy Kids in. But then she has a change of heart. It's a double heel face turn, and she's a good guy after all, and saves the Spy Kids. Now they're going to be real good friends, and maybe she's even going to date her brother.
Oh, well, that would be a love triangle, though, conflict, right? Because the president's daughter and Junie they're kind of a thing. So you're saying Gertie might go for Junie as well?
No. I'm saying that Junie is, of course, with the president's daughter, played by the great Taylor Momsen. Now,
Correct.
Carmen is going to be with the boy Giggles.
I don't think that's going to happen because the boy Giggles is still bad.
Yeah, but I think she likes the bad boys. I bet he continues on as a love interest in Spy Kids 3.
Well, he puts on glasses at the end that say bad boy on the glasses.
He is a bad boy.
In electric letters.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Yeah. What was that, an elevator?
Just New York popping off.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other plot things to talk about in this movie? I guess not.
Oh, the pig is called a spork.
Yeah. What'd you think of Bill Paxton at the very beginning of this movie? He's sort of like a...
Dinky Winks. I thought he'd have a bigger role. That was odd.
Yeah, but maybe we're setting him up for a future movie because he's in The Stinger.
Yeah, he wants to make a theme park out of... what are you laughing?
I love that there's a stinger in this movie. Hey, is he doing a George W. Bush? I think that's what he's doing.
Really?
Yeah. The voice he's doing. I think like they're going for like, hey, I'm the cowboy in charge here.
I didn't get that, but who knows? He could be. Jesus. We were in height of Bushisms, 2002. Yeah.
I think that's what's going on here. Bush was still funny to us at this point.
We hadn't invaded anybody quite yet, I believe.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think Bush, like, in the wake of 9/11, we were still like, bomb them all. We weren't like, oh, wait a second, you're a maniac until like 2003, I think.
I wasn't quite. I actually had some prescience in that period, but
Good for you. I did not.
I understand. Yeah, no.
I was like, I'm angry about the bombers. I hate the terrorists.
Yeah.
They got me. You know, it's
It was a country that got us.
They really no. It was propaganda. They propaganded me to death in the wake of 9/11.
I know. I'm saying that was part of it. That if we invade a country, that'll take care of the problem.
Yeah, Iraq. Let's invade Iraq.
Well, Afghanistan too, though. It's not really going to matter. Anyway, we're leaving, which is great.
Oh yeah, by 9/11 again. Hey,
Biden's just kind of flying, man. I feel like he's unhinged. I'm done.
I hate this shithole. Henry,
I can't hear it. It's fine. I can't hear anything.
what do you give this movie?
This was marginally more entertaining because of the Skull Island.
So you would rank them 2-1 at this point?
At this point, yes.
I think I would too.
It's still not a 2-star movie, though.
I think it's a 3.
Still a piece of shit. It is just a lesser experience. It's also a 1-star.
Guys, these movies are good.
Okay.
I do think that the effects work, as bad as the effects work was in the first one, it is worse in this movie.
But they're better, like slightly better ideas. I mean, at least we get
the Skull Island stuff is, but like it kicks off right away with that Bill Paxton commercial where he's like showing you all these new rides at the theme park, and all of the rides are like created almost entirely using digital effects, and they all look like garbage.
Awful. Right. Yeah. Terrible. Yeah.
It's a lot of that. And then there's also, I mean, we do a Ray Harryhausen riff. We just fucking talked about Army of Darkness in November, which did a riff on Jason and the Argonauts with the fighting stop motion skeletons. And in this one, we do a fucking Jason and the Argonauts riff again, but we don't even bother doing stop motion because we're using these shitty effects studios, and so we're doing like a weird digital version of stop motion that looks like trash.
Yeah. Well, the effects in this for that kind of shit and the animals and all that is not much different than Attack of the Clones. It's pretty much the same.
I did like the line though when he's like, "Oh man, look at these dead skeletons." It's like skeletons are always dead.
Someone said that to him?
Yeah, and then they get up and start fighting. It's very funny.
Oh. I am so happy that you
Spy Kids. I'm excited for the third one. I know Stallone's in it. New Mar-a-Lago member, Sylvester Stallone.
Fucking scumbag.
Yeah. And who's your MVP?
Buscemi.
Oh, right, you said that. MVP.
My LVP
Okay.
Montalban.
Oh, that's so sad for Ricardo.
Well, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
I'm going to go with my MVP, the great Taylor Momsen. And my LVP, I guess I'll go with... I'll go with Gary Giggles. Because the cast would be perfect if that guy was somebody. Because everybody else in this entire movie is somebody weird.
Well, they turned out to be somebody, right?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Alexa Vega and Daryl Sabaro. They're just like the regulars. But I mean, like, the other kids in this movie were like Haley Joel Osment's sister and then like the pretty reckless girl. So it would be fun if the third new kid was somebody too. But he's not.
Or somebody's brother or son.
Yeah, that would have been dynamite. I don't care. It should have been like fucking one of Ethan Hawke's kids or something.
He's got a million of them.
Yeah.
Always running around.
Yeah, they got that Maya. She's the hotsy totsy one.
They used to run around. They used to run around. Oh, really? She's in Stranger Things?
Yeah.
I used to see them when he'd come to Chelsea store. They're always running around as kids, always running around. He'd be yelling after him.
I do kind of remember that, but I guess I never really paid attention.
I don't remember if he came to Union or not, but he came to Chelsea all the time.
It was probably Chelsea, because I used to see him in bars around Chelsea.
He lived for a while at the Chelsea Hotel, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Henry, Spy
you
Kids.
Give what?
I give it a 3. 3's across the board for the Spy Kids films.
Okay.
Thank you to Ludwig and Thorben for picking them, and I want to say a happy 26th birthday to Ludwig. Boy, it's never going to get better after that, but hopefully it doesn't get worse.
It's 27.
I believe he's 26.
It was 26, and then we fucked it up. That was a year ago.
No, I think he was 25, and we fucked it up.
Oh, because you had read the way you read it.
He says, 8 days ago, he said, today is my 26th birthday.
Oh, that was to this current email.
That's
okay.
Right.
Oh, all right. Yes, right. 26. Way to go. Yeah, no.
You still have a year to live if you're in the 27 club.
That's totally true. Totally true.
Like one of Taylor Momsen's greatest influences, Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain made it to that age.
He sure did. Next week on the program, we'll be covering 2 more Spy Kids movies. Spy Kids 3D Game Over, featuring Sylvester Stallone and Salma Hayek. And Hayek's finally going to make it into one of these. You happy about that?
Sure, absolutely. Rodriguez regs.
Yeah, and Spy Kids 4D, All the Time in the World, the belated sequel from the year 2011, with such luminaries as Jessica Alba, Jeremy Piven, Joel McHale. I mean,
it's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
You know, I'm kind of sorry that the timing on this was that you just had shared with me a week or so ago about Sly. and now we have to cover.
You'd be going into a Sly movie with more hope.
Well, I don't ever want to talk about him ever again. You know, I don't want to cover anything he did. That just what a fucking.
Hey, don't talk to me like that. What are you talking about? I can't do Sly anymore. I have to watch Rocky. Do Rocky. I want to see if I can do it.
Chaz Palminteri, man, that's your wheelhouse.
And my Joe Montana.
Right. You think you're talking about like Mar-a-Lago over here, Adrian? You know, see what you can do over here with keeping the shithole countries out of here. You know, keeping Mar-a-Lago down here. You know, that's what you're gonna do, Paulie.
Can you say stop the steal? Include a stop the steal and a keep America great.
Keep America great again. You know, he kept the country safe. I think that's important. You know.
Hey, Sly, what do you think of there not being any more Q drops since December?
Sidebar with the attorney. What's a Q drop again?
QAnon post.
Oh, that's what I thought. Who's making a QAnon post? Who are you referring to?
There's been no new QAnon postings since December. No.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, people are entitled to their beliefs. That's why this country's great. You know, that's why you can believe something, and I don't have to necessarily agree with you, but that's what makes it a great country.
Hey, Stallone's making sense to me, Henry. Maybe I'm converting.
Well, he's got a way with words.
Yeah, he sure does. He's one of my favorite writers.